So for this video, we're going to be covering Jkd stances. Now again, to really understand Jeet Kune Do, you need to understand the traditional martial arts prior to Jkd really even happening. And yeah, it's all about the history of the martial art to appreciate what it's become. So Jkd stance and actually all the application and movement borrow from so many different other systems. So before I show you guys a Jeet Kune Do stance, I want to show you guys a traditional karate style stance and then more of a boxing stance because it's a fusion of both, and I'm going to show you why. So with a Taekwondo stance or a karate stance, I would say Taekwondo is a little bit more here, or we're out here and we're bouncing, right? Or karate stance is a little bit more with the hand forward here. But the problem is that the stance traditionally is very wide here, okay? This becomes an issue to be able to be explosive with our hands, but it's a great base to be able to kick from. So I naturally, when I start kicking, my legs get wider in stance so I can kick a little bit easier. It's hard to kick from such a small square stance, and this is where you really live to box. What I was taught for my boxing stance is my front foot's forward, the stance is a lot smaller, heels up off the floor, but we want to be compact and we want to be in this position here. So with this karate stance, what's really detrimental again is that front leg. When we're kicking to the leg in different martial arts, this knee is a massive weak point against our opponent. It'll take a very simple front kick to be able to go into this position. The other issue is that I don't really have a strong rear hand from this position here or front kicks from this position. It's really be able to design to side kick those front leg roundhouse, or if I want to spin into my back kicks or spin kicks, this stance really works well, right? And I don't even think I'm still doing more of a Taekwondo stance doing this. It's just habit at this point. But vice versa in boxing, here I have so much more control of my upper body and my hands with my stance here, but it's really difficult to be able to kick doing a spinning kick from this position because we're so square forward, okay? So the difference is completely turned versus super square forward, square on here. So the Jeet Kune Do stance that I learned is a combination of the both. Instead of being completely forward or completely sideways, we want to live on the 45, okay? And another side note is that Bruce Lee really always believed that your strong hand should be your lead hand. So I was fortunate enough to learn that at a much younger age, and it's become my habit now. So most people, they're right hand dominant, they would fight in an orthodox stance, right? I was taught from Jkd perspective, even from my boxing, your lead hand, your power hand goes right in front, okay? So I fight southpaw, especially for Jkd. So the 45 angle that we talk about is really, this front foot can be forward, but just for the sake of this video, let's turn it a little bit, and it's that happy medium between being too wide and too close for boxing. It's this right outside shoulder width line. And both my toes are going to be pointed at this 45, and my hands are up here. This front hand, it's okay if it's a little bit down, but it's active, it's awake. We don't want to have this loose hand down here. This is like very Taekwondo style. Do not do that. Hands are up, but we don't need to be tight inside like boxing. We don't need to be here. Always, rear hand should always be up. Always, always, always up. And a lot of traditional martial arts guys, when I start watching them try to box, I see this start to happen. This rear hand starts to sneak, and then they start punching, and they punch from here, but they're so exposed to their chin line, right? So I want that rear hand up, front hand's active in many different directions here. But more importantly, I'm living at this 45. Okay, so we have our boxing stance, completely straightforward, traditional stance, completely sideways, Jkd at this 45, shoulder line 2 here. You guys can start applying a little bit of Philly shell. It's kind of what I like to do as well too. I like to roll and move, but my front hand's very active here. Okay, let's move on to the next video.